Going back to the topic of knowing the platform, right? Mm-hmm. I'm always reminding people left and right that once it's sin, it's hard to recant it. You dig what I'm saying? And for me, I've been burned for things that I've said, and I'm saying to myself, it's like, golly, I wish everybody would understand my intentions for it. And sometimes you don't have that opportunity to do so. But in a way, I think people are owed to know that it wasn't said out of malice. It never was said to bring any type of equality or hurt or any pain to nobody. We all are entitled to our own opinions, right? And the thing that the day and time that we live in, we are expected to be perfect in an imperfect world.
But as one of my bosses said to me, one of my dear friends, he said to me, other people's perceptions are your reality.
Wow, hey, that's player right there. That's player.
So if they perceive that you're wrong or they perceive that I'm wrong,
yeah,
then the reality is you're wrong and I'm wrong.
Right.
And so I always think my job is to dispense information. Mm-hmm. So there's a reason I'm on social media. I try to dispense information there.
Right.
I've always wondered with athletes, to me, I know that they want to exercise their muscles and whatnot, but I always think if I'm an athlete, the only reason I'm going on Twitter or social media is to praise my teammates, my coaches, my organization, promote my charity. And short of that, my life, I'm keeping it to my life.
Right. But
it's limiting, it's confining.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I understand that. But I just see what happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I think to that point what I was saying earlier, that it's hard to use the platform that we do have by allowing people to understand that we don't have the luxury that Steph Curry has. We don't have the luxury that LeBron James have. We don't have the luxury that Paul George may have or any basketball players because they see their faces. They're able to see. Like, I think the dopest thing that I've seen LeBron James do, in my honest opinion, is show up to Bronny's games. I don't even know Bronny, never met him. But I'm like, man, just to share that father moment where you know, and you have kids, you know, it's like there's a proud father moment, there's a proud family moment where it's just like, man, that's my boy, that's my daughter, that's my girl right there. And you use social media to tell that, to do that. And even then, it's like, when you're in a position where only thing people care about is the weekly interviews of Cam, you know, what does this team look like? What does the Seattle Seahawks, you know, kind of give you to prepare for? You know, what are you thinking about the Atlanta Falcons? What are you, you know, what is this something that you're getting prepared for the New Orleans Saints? And it's like, yeah, that's my job, but I'm a human, I'm a dad, you know what I'm saying?
Would you not rather see any of your 7 children succeed, star, conquer, have a great game on the team that you're coaching? Wouldn't that be as meaningful, if not more meaningful to you than anything you could do on the football field?
It is.
Of course. There was an incident this year where I got home from a Monday night game in Pittsburgh, and I remember walking in my house at 8 a.m. The alarm rang. The alarm rang in Pittsburgh about 3:30, got picked up at 4, went to the airport for a 6 o'clock flight in Pittsburgh, flew home, walked in. I'm exhausted. I want to go to bed. And my daughter had done work this year for Nickelodeon, doing a weekly interview. She was their NFL correspondent.
Right.
And they called that day, and the regular host was sick, couldn't come in. They wanted to know, could she come into New York City and host the show with Nate Burleson?
Wow. Is that the slime?
Slime time.
Yeah.
So they sent her some lines to practice in the car, and she starts reading it. I'm going, oh my God. And I'm watching her on the set, and I am way, way more nervous and anxious watching her than I ever would be for anything that I've ever done.
That you had to do.
Well, except for at the start of my career. But yes, modern day, anything I would do now, nothing compared to watching her.
Correct.
The nerves, the anxiety, and all that mattered to me was seeing her crush it that day. And she did.
Right.
And there's nothing that makes you feel more proud as a parent than seeing your child succeed.
Absolutely. And even, I mean, let's just be frank. That's what I'm battling right now. As a free agent, there's teams calling, and I'm getting interest, but I'm like,
You have to leave your kids.
I have to leave, like, it's not.
They can't go anywhere. They can't.
They're at an age now. I've always kind of looked at it like, and I respect the people who protect this country, but military kids, they travel so much. I never wanted that to be my child, to be able to, start in one school, then go to another school. The children need stability, right? And it was my job and how I felt and how I feel, not to take anything away from anybody else and what their family demographic and dynamic was. But for me personally, I just wanted to give my children stability to say, you guys are gonna stay here, because on one front, it's easier for me to travel, back and forth, rather than all eight of us.
But on a weekend, let's say you're playing Seattle. I'm just using a team.
Correct.
Could they fly in on the weekend themselves and then fly back?
The age difference is so broad, because there's a 10-year gap between a lot of them. And the older ones, they get it. I was just in LA doing a business trip with them, and they just love, like, man, you just go. We just want to go to the mall and run around, and then you just do the FaceTime checkup.
Right, so they don't care as much about being in the game. So how do you know when it's the right time to go take an offer or an opportunity that one of these teams presents when it's calling and leave your family behind? Or do you just say, you know what, there's not enough money they could pay me to leave the family behind?
I think I'm at a position right now where, I'll be honest, salary cap or lockout or no lockout, the game of football has been extremely good to me. And I mean, great.
So you don't have to work again.
I don't have to work again.
Okay.
Right?
So now
it's all about
be selective.
But then then the question may be asked is, do you still love the game? Absolutely. There's nothing, it brought tears to my family. It brought tears to my producers, almost to myself, if I wasn't in this, phase of, I'm about to play a game. When I went back to Charlotte and came out the tunnel and was introduced, that was probably top 5 memories in my life.
Wow.
That, I wouldn't say the forgotten son, but the
returning son.
The returning son. And it was just euphoric just to be able to, walk around and see, like, man, baby, I'm home. I miss you. You know what I'm saying? And now I've been in the position where, we have so many different options, but at the same time, my children weren't able to come to that game. They seen it. Some of them saw it, and it was just like, and my son may have had a track meet or had a football game.
Which is what happens as they get older. There's more and more events. You're missing out on more and more.
Correct.
So if you didn't play another down, what would you then do?
I'll do this.
By the way, you can do this.
Right.
You can do this. You're good.
And the thing is, and even to lure you to get you to come here, and I was like, man, Adam, I promise you.
To lure me.
Bro, like,
it's just not easy. It's just life.
It's not. And I understand. I've done enough interviews to know, like, man, it's dry. And I've been burnt before. It takes a person to be burnt in the kitchen to really know how to cook in the kitchen.
Right, but the best meals are the ones that are just natural. They just sort of happen. Right. No one's looking to burn anybody or do anything. You're just looking to sit down with a friend and enjoy a nice meal together with some nice conversation. That's all.
Correct.
It's not hard.
Correct. So even with me, I think people know me as this, but it's so much to me. And I want to tell the world, it's like, man, look, you guys know me as that. I'm not that. I'm that to a degree, but I also just want to have genuine conversation with people. I don't want to just be, athlete or athletic based. I want to tap into culture. I want to bring people together. I want to serve and be a servant to empowering people to really understand why certain people act and move the way that they move.
Well, that's what you said. You want to talk about empowering people.
Yes, sir.
right? That's important to you. And it seems like this is a great vehicle for you to do that.
Absolutely.
And you've got a gift. And I watched that introduction. And I couldn't do that. So you know what? You can do two things that I can't. You can play quarterback and you can introduce a podcast better than I can.
I can say I owe a lot of that to the way I was raised. I'm born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. And that's the land of the finessers, scammers, and the juggers. And I could get milk from a cow. You know what I'm saying?
And I can't.
I could sell milk to a cow. You know what I'm saying? I could sell Bibles to a preacher. So for me, I think that's an art, but it comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of trust. And you gave me that opportunity.